Aloha and welcome to Betty's Real Estate Corner, brought to you by Sakamoto Properties, where prestige is our business, reputation our foundation. Today in the studio is Dean Otto.
Hi Betty, thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here today, Dean.
Aloha.
Aloha. We're listening, obviously, Danny Couch brought us into the show again today, which is always my favorite thing. And for the new year, there's nothing greater to me than living in Hawaii. My family are in Buffalo, New York, and I love Buffalo. Everybody can make fun, but I'll always love Buffalo. But I'll tell you, it is cold this year.
It's always great to be a real estate agent on Maui when it's minus 40 degrees in Chicago.
Right, and I can send things to Buffalo this morning that said, with the wind chill factor, it was 62 degrees or something. I always just make up the temperature, but it always gets them a little crazy.
Exactly, and of course we're calling all of our clients in all those cold weather areas right now, and they're reminding them how beautiful it is. And most of them, as you know, probably had a chance to watch the Hyundai Tournament of Champions this weekend too. So, I mean, what a perfect time to have a perfect weather for our tournament while it's just so cold and frigid on the mainland. So it couldn't have gone any better.
The tournament was the greatest. Every day the weather was perfect. The only day that probably was a tiny bit difficult was the Pro-Am, and those guys are tough. You know, the amateurs, they can play that course in any weather.
Well,
so
it's just not fair. It's just not fair to have the pros playing in perfect conditions when, you know, the rest of us have to live with the 40-mile-an-hour winds and the rain. So
only from time to time.
I don't feel bad for them.
No, I don't think so either. It was actually, every day was great for the pros, but they deserved it too, and it was fun to watch them. The big winner is Zach Johnson, really, really nice family man, 3 little kids. When he won and the kids were there and he's trying to pick up one, pick up the other, and then it looks like a brand new baby, maybe a couple of months old. But what a great, perfect champion to this time for Kapalua, because it is such a great family location and so many families are visiting at this time of year. It was perfect.
Yeah, you're right. He is a great champion for us, and you're right also, he's definitely the family man. I thought it was the funniest thing on TV watching him walk off the 18th green after grinding it out for the last 4 hours and see his little kid running up, and the camera caught him making these really silly little baby noises to his kid that was almost embarrassing, but it was just a classic case of, you know, just being so thrilled to have his family there. And it was just a perfect ending to a great tournament.
He was great. Last year he played with Roy on his team in the Pro-Am. So when I saw him and he had played good the first couple of days, you know, I mentioned him, you know, you kind of learned a little something from those guys, didn't you? And he laughed, and he just really nice man. I'm happy he's our champion.
We're very disappointed about the fact that Roy didn't win the Pro-Am.
I'm so disappointed.
Being, I think, 3-time champion? Or was it
well, he's won each of the different ones. He's only won the Hyundai once, but he did win the Isuzu and the Lincoln Mercury and the Mercedes, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been, we have a lot of those huge crystal trophies around, and it's been fabulous. But it took a lot of years. He's played every year, so he deserved to win some of those.
Sounds like a ringer to me. And his punishment for not winning was not being allowed to come on the radio show today.
That's right. We can't bring him here if he's not going to win any trophies. So he'll have to work harder for next year.
Yeah, but great tournament. I mean, we had all the great players, all the sort of stars who are peaking right now, you know, with Jordan Spieth. And,
he was fun to watch,
yeah,
wasn't he?
Dustin Johnson. I mean, these are the guys that we're going to be watching all year, I think.
Adam Scott,
Webb Simpson. I think we're going to be getting used to seeing those names on the top of leaderboards, yeah.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed that we missed out on a couple of the young guys. McIlroy, I can't think, now that we're sitting here, I can't think of all of them.
Well, McIlroy, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, those are the names that typically have chosen not to come to Kapalua in the past. It's a difficult time of the year, so, you know, obviously they're looking at coming a long way from wherever they're at and family vacation, and it's a 365-day season for them, so, you know, having an extra week off is a big deal, and it's, you know, create a little bit of a concern for this particular tournament being so early in the year, is you're not going to get some of those champions. But, you know, as I say, I think the people that were here are the current champions, the people that are playing the best, the people that are peaking, and, you know, I see there's other guys fizzling out a little bit, and these guys are a little hungrier, a little younger, and a little more on their game right now.
There were some great people. I think the hard thing is if you think of yourself when your kids were a little bit younger, no matter what it is, I mean, you've had a great year, you're a great champion, you've won a ton of money, but now if you've got to take and get your whole family away from home for the holidays, it's really hard. And kids, it's horrible because they believe Santa Claus will never find them. And they've been believing and loving Christmas and the whole thing at home. So I really give any of the guys that don't come, a lot of my sympathy, because I think it would be hard. I would never have wanted to drag my daughter somewhere on a trip for Christmas because home was where you wanted to be.
It's a tough life of a golf pro. They're traveling every week. They really have very little time with their families when you think about the schedules. And for example, the guys that finished the tournament on Monday afternoon, got on a plane Monday night, were off to Oahu for the tournament on Oahu. They, I think, had 9 holes of practice today, and then they go straight into a pro-am tomorrow, and then straight into another tournament. So there's not a whole lot of spare time in the life of a pro golfer. Certainly it's a great career, but ultimately it comes with some downside, and ultimately it's the time away from your family and the travel time that would be the downside to that business.
Yeah, we want them all here, because it matters to all of us in our businesses and for the tournament and for the overall tourism effect for Maui. But again, I think let's give them a little sympathy and really praise the guys who are here. I mean, again, Zach Johnson, he's got 3 little kids here, which is really pretty amazing. And Drillman has a 5 or 6 day old baby born by cesarean, and he was here with his parents. And he had such a great time. He was going out the other night on a whale watch with his parents, and he was a little sad to be away from his wife, but I think when they realized what had happened, she was good, healthy, baby is doing great, and he came because it's what he does, it's his job. And hopefully next year he'll be back with a little baby in tow with him, and it'll be super. So
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, Dean, one of the things we wanted to talk about today before we got into real estate, New Year's resolutions or not.
Do you have one?
Let me think for a minute.
Okay.
I probably got a couple, but
yeah, I know exactly. I was reading an article yesterday about New Year's resolutions, and of course, the obvious one is to get in shape and lose weight. I think that according to this study that I was reading, 43% of the people have a New Year's resolution to lose weight or get in shape. So, I think we can scratch that one off the list because that never happens.
I, of course, like everybody, always have that one in mind. And one of the things that I decided this year was that's not going to be my resolution, because I think it's a little, maybe, I don't want to say self-defeating because you can do it. But certainly as I get older, one of the things that's hitting me is I think a good New Year's resolution for me would be to just, make a healthier lifestyle, eat a little bit better, maybe do a little less chocolate in my life. And
what?
And keep adding exercise, as much as I can. We're all working a lot, but I still think that it would be great to remember that a little bit helps. And I read something years ago that if you could do 7 minutes of exercise a day, it'd be better than nothing. And I think once you start 7 minutes, you're probably going to get to 20 or a half hour quite a few of the days. So I'm going to try to just do better, but not focus on losing weight. If I do those things, I would lose weight. So
correct. That's
what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think the thing to do is to schedule exercise into your daily regimen. So I think ultimately talking about it is easy, but actually fitting it into your schedule, if you have a busy schedule like we do, making the time to do it is key. The second most popular New Year's resolution is saving money and improve your financial stability. So of course that's the big challenge is how do we save money, or how do we become more financially stable? When you consider the fact that 20% of people in America right now are claiming that they spend more than they earn, and about 50% of Americans are saying that they spend as much as they earn. So, it's not an easy thing to say save money. And I think one of the things that I wanted to talk about briefly was the idea of how you save money. And, obviously real estate is, in my opinion, one of the only ways in this crazy world we live in to accumulate wealth. And, when you consider the benefits of home ownership as it relates to saving money, there's a variety of different things that we could talk about. I mean, equity versus rental. You know, renting, you're throwing money out the window. Equity, hopefully you're creating equity for a future benefit. Of course, there's the mortgage interest deduction, which is a big part of how we save on taxes, which is ultimately a savings as well. And then thirdly, there's no other investment better than owning your own primary residence, which is that if you purchase a property and sell it as a primary resident, you have a $250,000 tax exemption exclusion.
Or $500,000 as a couple.
$500,000 as a couple. So there really isn't an investment that gives you $500,000 of tax-free. And ultimately, when you consider the taxable tax rates, you're talking about a 30 to 40% savings. And unfortunately, there aren't too many investments that are going to generate that kind of return. So, you know, owning a home, being a primary resident is really the best investment you can make, and it ultimately results in the best potential to accumulate wealth or to create savings, which is really what we're talking about right now.
I think you're right, Dean, and one of the things that almost anyone should do that's been thinking real estate, thinking a home, thinking an investment property, is to take some time, talk to a real estate broker, talk to your financial people, talk to a mortgage person, because if you take a long look, if it's going to be your home and what you're going to write off between real estate taxes, what you're going to write off in interest, all of a sudden you can discover that you're going to have a better cash flow situation owning than you're going to have if you continue to rent. And then most of us, whoever can remember, I can, the first time I purchased a home, and I thought we would never, ever be able to afford it. Well, the interesting thing about that is you never miss a beat, you never miss a thing, because you do change your life a little bit, just instinctively. And when you say how to save money, and I know it's hard, Dean, but each of us, even if you aren't thinking exactly saving, if you just are a little bit more careful about what you're buying, if you buy less, I mean, being more careful about what you're buying, and if you bought that new home this year, and if now you're out shopping, whether it's groceries or clothes or things for your kids, whatever it is, just buy a little less. I mean, you can save more money than you would ever think if we just give ourselves a little bit of time when we're ready to make a purchase. I just think intelligent purchasing will save money.
Correct. And then once you purchase your home, obviously that's your goal, and you have that sort of goal in mind to own and support this property, that ultimately you have a good incentive to be able to save money in other areas. It's as I say, equity is a great thing versus rental. The other thing too is you have two kinds of real estate. One is your home or your primary residence, and the other one is an investment property. And I've had several questions in the last few weeks here about which should I be doing. Should I be buying a house for myself, or should I be buying an investment property? And the truth is that there is no better value than buying your home, your own primary residence, for two main reasons. One is that you get that mortgage interest deduction, which is huge, as well as you have the tax savings of $250,000 or $500,000, as Betty mentioned. You just can't touch home ownership where you're the primary resident. If you do have investment property, you certainly have the tax advantages of doing a 1031 tax deferred exchange, so you can defer your gains into future investments. But ultimately, there's nothing as good as owning your own home based on those tax incentives.
And probably one other thing that we haven't touched on yet, a reason you should own your own home, it's pride of ownership for yourself, for your family, creating a neighborhood where your children will grow up and go to school, and hopefully you'll be there in a lot of cases through the majority of the years that your kids are in school. Even if you decide to trade up or to do something as the years go on, probably you'll stay in the same neighborhood because your kids are already in school. So I think also there's all the investment reasons that you should, but pride of ownership, one other thing. There's nothing like your own home.
Absolutely, and I love owning my home too, and every day I see the improvements that I made, and I'm grateful for not compromising on those improvements, because it's something you live with every day, and every day I see those improvements and really appreciate what I have.
You did a great job there. Dean and his family purchased a house. It's a lot of years now, the one you're in right now.
Yeah, 8 years ago.
And then they, of course, did what we all like to do. You go in and you start fixing it up, and before you know it, you've spent a fortune on it. But you live with it day by day by day, and over the years we've seen people that buy a house and they live with it just the way it is. Then they get ready to sell it, and they fix it up to sell it, but they never had the opportunity to enjoy all those fix-ups. You guys did a fabulous job.
Yes, thank you. And it was one of those situations where I think we ended up spending 3 times as much as we planned. But again, I think, for me, it was I was really happy about not compromising, and since I had the opportunity to be able to do it, I really am appreciative of the fact that I didn't compromise and I did it right. And my family's going to have a great life in this home, and we'll appreciate it every day.
And the kids are. One has now gone on to college, and the others just, 7th grade.
13 going on 21.
Oh yeah, she is really.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are all great reasons, and I think whether you're purchasing for an investment or primary residence, but I'm with you, Dean, your home. What you really want to buy first is your home. You want a place to live and to raise your family, and then you can buy another property.
Correct. I mean, just the point of saving money again. Back to the New Year's resolution. Saving money is not easy when you earn a salary, pay taxes, and you live your life, and then try to save money. It's really hard to do that. But home ownership really is the ideal way to accumulate wealth.
And there are right now loan programs available with relatively low down payments, which a couple of years ago, following the mortgage crisis, that was not happening. But right now, for a primary residence, there are some really great loan packages, and you have to have some cash available. We're finding this last year, some of the people that get into a primary residence will get a little bit of help from a family member. But again, it's one of these things. We'll have you, if you call us, Sakamoto Properties, 808-669-0070, or check out sakamotoproperties.com or deanauto.com.
Thank you.
And you can get a lot of information from there. But let us, talk to one of us, and we'll get you a lot of information about who to talk to, because we've got some great mortgage people. When you go into your bank, talk to your banker and sit down with someone and tell them what you've got in mind. But a lot of times it's your local real estate broker that will be able to educate you the best and direct you, and then figure out with your loan agent or with your bank how much you should be borrowing, how much you can do, how much you have down, and we can help you end up with a home.
Yeah, I think it's important to match an individual with the right lender. I mean, not everyone has perfect credit and is flush with cash in the bank. So it's easy if you're a perfect borrower, but if you're not a perfect borrower, like a lot of us, there are options for you as well, and that's typically where the mortgage brokers come into this picture. Most people believe it's extremely difficult to get a loan right now, but I've found in my transactions that it's actually quite easy, and it's a matter of finding the right program for the right borrower. So the rates are incredible right now, and it's never been easier to own a property. There's never been a better time to get a mortgage that's equal to or less than your rent when you consider how low the rates are right now. 30-year rates are still good. They've inched up a little bit, but they're still around 4.5%. But you can get a 15-year loan at 3.5%. You can get a 5-year fixed, a 30-year loan with the first 5 years fixed at 3%. Those are incredible rates, and they are going to go up. But those are rates that you can get really good deals on, and as I say, you could end up paying the same amount in the mortgage as you are rent, and that to me would be an absolute no-brainer.
One of the things, over the last few years, a lot of people have developed this fear that they won't be able to qualify for a loan, there aren't loans available, you can't get a mortgage, and they aren't even looking. But I think that they're wrong, because it's changed, and it's changed over a couple of years now. But you can get a mortgage, the odds are pretty good, and if you talk with one of us and we have you talk to a lender, it is available, so that this fear doesn't exist anymore. There was a point a few years back, again, following the mortgage crisis, that it was impossible. I mean, if you didn't have a huge amount of cash, it wasn't going to happen, but not true now. I mean, there are loans available, and Dean's point is well taken, which is we can help to place you with the right person, or have you talk to a couple of lenders until you get comfortable. It's important that you become comfortable.
Yeah, and you can be creative these days, and as I say, as Betty was just mentioning, I think people haven't quite realized that the the lending industry has changed, and there's all kinds of interesting programs out there, and be willing to bet that we could find something for you if you're someone that's out there considering getting a loan as well.
We happen to specialize pretty much in West Maui homes, Kapalua has been one of our primary areas. We do a lot of second homes, etc. Kaanapali, all of West Maui. Right now, though, for the person that wants to live in West Maui, whether you're going to be right in Lahaina and some of the older subdivisions, there's some new condos down there that I think there's still some great values. I think whether you're going to be Mahina, Honokowai, Lahaina, Kahana, Napili, I think there's really still great values there, whether it's in a condominium or a single family home. And in another 2 years, I think, maybe even in the next less than a year, we're going to be back to where it's going to be almost impossible from the standpoint of price because things are starting to escalate again. Yeah. So it's now. It's now.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, I wouldn't wait much longer. There's clearly been a pretty substantial pickup in the market at the same time of the inventory declining. I had a person looking for a Napili How Villages unit in Napili. One came on the market listed for $250,000. That same day we submitted an offer of $255,000, and that night they received 5 other offers and we got aced out by someone else by the next morning. So, the market is changing, there's no question about it. Where particularly evident is in the lower price ranges, the $250,000 to $750,000. It's just non-existent on the west side. If you're contemplating buying, I would not wait because clearly this is a trend and it's only going to get harder. Rates are going to go up, and I think right now we're in a perfect scenario where the market's just starting to inch up and the rates are still low. So I can't imagine it's going to be any better this year, and I would encourage you to at least get in the game, call your realtor and see what's out there and see if there's anything that makes sense for you.
We know a lot of you do have someone that you've known in the real estate business for a long time. Call them. But we're here and we're available anytime. So if you call our office, 808-669-0070, one of us will be available to help you. Check out our websites, sakamotoproperties.com, deanauto.com, and in each one of those you can get to the multiple listing service so that you can then go through and look at any property, whether it's our listing, someone else's listing, but we're able to show you any property on Maui and work with you and find the agent in our office that's the best suited to the property that you want. Dean, we are actually at the 2-minute warning. I can't believe we can talk this fast.
I know, it flies by, doesn't it?
Any properties you can think of, we always try to have those properties that either are new or that we think are a great value for now.
Well, one of the hot properties on the west side is that Napili Kai property, which rarely has units coming on the market. And Betty and I just listed a Puna 2 unit, which is a beautiful 1-bedroom condo right on probably what's the most pristine location in West Maui, right on Napili Bay. And we listed that just a few days ago. It's getting a lot of attention. It's listed for $1,325,000. But for as far as location, that would have to be one of the best.
And one of the very best rental programs that you're ever going to find anywhere in Hawaii. So it's amazing to me how great that one really is. There's a couple of great Laniapoko listings, just listings in Lahaina, tons of great Kapalua listings, Napili. It goes on and on.
Yep, the inventory is changing. So it's been declining at a rate of about 20% a year for the last 3 years. But with the pickup in the market in the last few months, we've started to see new inventory coming on the market. As the sales prices have picked up, a new crop of inventory is coming on. So, I would encourage you to get out there.
Okay, I guess they're acing us out now. A special aloha to everybody. Happy New Year.
Aloha.
It's been great to be with you. Thank you, Danny Couch again. I love Hawaii.